Hello, students. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If you are able to see the screen, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if the screen is visible for you all and the voice is also audible for you all as well? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, students, now today, CIMA Strategic Case Study 2023. The pre-scene released, and what we are effectively going to do is the induction session. So you are going to be inducted by me about our organization, how our company works, everything, so that you will effectively understand how the systems are in place. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, the first thing I have to say is your role, that is who you are in our company. So, if I'm not mistaken, you are promoted now because you passed your MCS, you are promoted to senior finance manager. So, you have to understand you have a team below you who will do your technical work in the future. So, your role is effectively the senior finance manager and students of our organization. You are working for our organization, which is effectively known as Robobryce. Okay, Robobryce. This is the name of our organization, Robobryce. Now, students, nothing to worry about this, students. It's very simple and easy. So, if you observe students, let's initially go ahead with this company. So, our organization about company. So, your role is very clear. A quick idea of what is our organization. So, about company, students, if I'm not mistaken, what I can effectively say is, students, Robobryce, that is our organization, Robobryce is a quoted company that you have to understand. And students, if I'm not mistaken, I'll just put here. Now, if you see in the previous subjects, now here the quoted company means F3 comes into the picture. That is financial strategy. That means in that case, students, they may not ask you to memorize and write anymore, because you are a senior manager. So your maturity is effectively considered there. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, the country where we are operating. So students, located in Tesla, and the currency as usual we use is T dollars. The currency we effectively use is T dollars. That is also one thing you have to keep in mind. And we effectively follow IFRS. That is the accounting standard we effectively follow. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, what business we do? What business we do? That is the question we have. And students, nothing to worry. Again, as usual, they're testing the areas which they generally test in the previous aspect also. Now, students, in this case, what business we do? If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Sharmin, did you go through the pre-scene by any chance?
No, sir, I did not have time.
No problem, no problem. So students, I'm not going extensively in the pre-scene, but I'm just giving you the guidance what your role is. Today, you are a finance manager, you are promoted, and you are working for this quoted company, which is F3 Financial Strategy, located in Tesla. What business we do? Hamzat, by any chance, did you get any chance to see the pre-scene by any chance, Hamzat?
Yeah, I did, sir. I went through and and jot down notes.
What we do, Hamzat, if I'm not mistaken?
Sorry, sir.
What we do? What is our business actually? What are our operations?
Actually, these are in the warehouse. No, you have these various ways of storage machines which are available. We are basically supplying those machines and services.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll make it very clear, students. Now, what he said is almost correct. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, the business we do is solutions to handle the warehouse functions. Solutions to handle warehouse function. We have two types of solution. One is automated solutions. That is, in simple language, we provide robots. What do we provide? Robots. And the other one is human operated solution. That is also there. Human operated solutions are also there. Example like forklift. Now, students, I believe that you are aware about forklift as well, where humans are needed to operate it. So these are the main thing that we give. And then students, we have consultation services with regards to warehouse management, consultation services with regard to warehouse infrastructure, I can say. Warehouse infrastructure, warehouse infrastructure, warehouse infrastructure. And students, if I'm not mistaken, one more thing that we have to keep in mind is after the consultation services to the warehouse infrastructure, we do have one more thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, just to make sure it is very clear for you all to understand. The other thing is, students, we have research and development. That means we effectively invent a lot of things, research and development. Now, students, I am not going to waste your time here because it will be easy when you understand a small video. So I'll just show you this video. Anyway, I'll share it with you. Doctor, were you able to see that video? Can I get a confirmation?
Yes, yes, I could see the
Yeah.
video.
Yeah. So students, now this is the products we are going to sell. That if you saw that machineries, what were there, the beehive, so many things were there, we produce that. That is the business. Are you clear with that, doctor? That means we are not managing a warehouse. We are producing items which are used inside a warehouse. Is that clear, doctor?
Yeah, replacement for human beings.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And Hamzat, are you clear with that? Can I get a confirmation, Hamzat, if you are fine with that? Because we are producing machines like robots and others to handle these systems. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, got it.
Ex Excellent, excellent. So I believe Mr. Jose is also fine, and Miss Ayana is also clear with the items what we are effectively producing.
Yes, sir. Yes, Nafil, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So, students, now I took some real life companies also. So, one thing is, if I'm not mistaken, this is a good company, students, called River Systems. I will share you the link about these students. They are also similar like our company. They produce the same way of what we are doing. They provide solutions. They have warehouse management facilities. All those things are effectively mentioned. I think you are seeing the students, if I'm not mistaken, when you buy from Amazon, this will come packed out completely. Those are warehouse management solutions. And another organization, students, it's again a nice one, Right Hand Robotics. Again, they are producing the same type of things what is there, what we just saw in the thing. And the most dangerous part is Amazon also has their subsidiary called Amazon Robotics. So students, we have very open ways to think differently, because actually Amazon has means there can be like reverse acquisition taking place, all those things. And then students, they are also giving some other thing like Zebra, we have distribution solutions, OEM solutions, all these things are there. So this will effectively make your mind very clear on what we have to learn effectively. Now, students, coming to the next one, I believe that industry where we are in is very clear. Because, doctor, can you remember last time we had something called 3PL logistics? Can you remember, doctor, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, they
We
struck.
give the transfer, they struck the transport, the warehouse. But here, once again, I don't know why they purposely did it. It is almost similar to that perspective, but in this case, we are effectively providing capital goods. In simple language, this is known as what goods, students? Capital goods. That means goods used to produce or supply another goods in the intermediary process. So capital goods these are. And students, unfortunately or fortunately, again, they are giving business to business. Now, students, we are not giving anything to consumers. Correct, no, doctor? If you see, these things consumers will really take. Agree, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because if you see consumers, households, all they may not have big warehouses. We may not know, but the basic concept is we are in the B2B sector. So get it very clearly, students. We are producing this. We are producing this. We have manufacturing plants also. So students, if I'm not mistaken, a quick thing about the history, because a little brief about the history so that it will be very easy for you. They have shortened the company idea this time. So founded in 1952. That is very clear. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, in 1971, they got listed in the stock market. 1971 listed in the stock market, students. So that is also one factor we have to understand. They got listed in the stock market. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, they initially produced, if I'm not mistaken, warehouse fittings and equipments, That is during that time. That means basically human involvement is needed. But now, students, what happened is, if I'm not mistaken, I'll just make sure the time period is also very clear for you all, that in the year 2005, I'll just write down here, students, you can do an audit also. In the year 2005, they introduced autonomous, that means automatic type of machinery. So autonomous equipments, that means like what we saw in the video, they introduced in 2005. That means no need humans, it can be doing the work by itself, autonomous equipments. And also, students, if I'm not mistaken, in 2008, what happened was a demand increased for these types. Demand increased for automated items. Demand increased for automated items. Just get that understanding. Demand increased for automated items. So that is one more important factor to keep in mind, students, because it is very important. Now, students, the next thing that you have to keep in mind is we have two factories. So that is very important and very practical also. So students, I think that's a checkbox. Yeah, students, if I'm not mistaken, there are two factories, if I'm not mistaken, students. So one factory, if I'm not mistaken, is situated in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, or the Tesla. the country that we are operating in. And the other factory is in Darlan, students. Now, if you see Darlan, they are currently manufacturing the human involved equipments. Human involved what, students? Equipments. That means not robots, human involved equipments. In simple language, traditional, in simple language, it is traditional equipment. In simple language, it is what, students? It is traditional equipments, if I'm not mistaken. And then students, another ethical challenge, if I'm not mistaken, one question comes in ethical issue, as you already know. This country, Darlan, has cheap labor and skilled labor. So effectively, students, they are exploiting, they itself have clearly mentioned in the case study, exploiting the labor that is clearly mentioned in the case study, just for your understanding. And Tesla, what we do is we effectively manufacture autonomous equipments and R&D, autonomous equipment and R&D, and research and development. So this is where we are focusing on our main products, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the divisionalization of our business, and we have 7,000 employees in, we have 5,000 employees in Tesla, 5,000 employees in Tesla, 5,000 employees in Tesla. And students, if I'm not mistaken, we have effectively 7,000 employees in the Darland organization. So this is our breakdown also, students, for your understanding. And students, if you observe, this is the effective structure of our business. And I will go through this more in detail as well for your understanding. But this is the basic factors that you have to remember this time. And students, if I'm not mistaken, we have our mission, vision, values, everything that we have to consider in our examination. So students, I believe that you understood what industries we are focusing on. So I'll just give you some areas from CIMA exams which they can directly test. One is called robotic process operation, automations. That is there in E3. I'll give you the notes also, students. Robotic process automation. That is how it can be done. And then can you remember, students, we have something called machine learning, and then we have something called deep learning. All these factors are effectively there. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this? So this is the overview of the case study, students, and effectively I will increase the lecture hours more in detail, but just to give you the idea. So students, I will give you a quick assessment. That means this week you have to do a SWOT analysis. And we will have our next class on the Wednesday where I will be doing this in detail. And then students, ratio analysis as usual. So I believe this is clear for all students. Students, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute, students. I will just resume. There is someone. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? I'm sorry for the interruption. Can I quickly get a confirmation, students? Thank you. Thank you very much, students. So we need to do the SWOT analysis and the ratio analysis for your understanding. But students, what I initially wanted to make sure is the company, what we are working. We are producing goods and effectively we are B2B business, as I told you. And one thing, students, we are a dependent business. In simple language, we are dependent business on supermarkets because that is our main target, because we are dependent business on supermarkets and online stores. And what store, students? Online stores. So this is one challenge that we will be facing in the exam also. So are you clear with the induction session of our organization? Because I need to do a short idea about the exam paper. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with the basic induction? Can I get a confirmation, students? Because induction is over, the basic induction only, and then let's come forward with the paper structure. Now, students, you have to understand one thing. We have to practice mocks where we are going to cover up the theory as well. So students, if I'm not mistaken, exam paper structure. Exam paper, what students? Structure. So your exams are as 3 hours, as you already know. And students, you have to understand one very, very, very important thing. The very, very important thing that you have to understand is this paper has 3 questions only. Now, if you observe, students, your OCS and MCS had 4 questions. But this question, 3 questions, and each question effectively is 1 hour. So totally 180 minutes is the total hours for this question. I believe that everyone is very clear with that. The length of the answer remains the same. The length of the answer remains the same. Doctor, did you get what I'm saying here? The length of the answer remains the same. Are you fine with that? But they're giving extra 20 minutes. So students, I believe that you are getting that clarity behind that. They are effectively giving extra 20 minutes so that it will be very easy for you all to understand as well. So that is very, very clear for you all, students, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now students, if I'm not mistaken, let's move on to the other one. That is, if you see the marks. Now, generally, students, the marks are 33 marks per question. So effectively 33 into 3 will come to 99 marks, which is effectively coming closer to 100 marks. That's how they effectively give. And they multiply that by 1.5 mark, and totally it is going to become 150 marks in total. So students, can I get a confirmation if you are fine with that exam paper structure? Exam paper structure, because this is critically important. Now, students, the next thing I have to come to you all is the syllabus style. That is very, very important, and you very, very careful, especially the students who cleared MCS. You have to be very, very, very careful with the syllabus style. How the syllabus works. So effectively, students, I'll come to operational case study because you have to understand how CIMA works. Your role in the operational case study is a finance officer. You're not a manager, you're just a finance officer, basic role. So if you see, students, if I'm rating it into 2 parts, that is technical knowledge. Technical knowledge means understanding of your subjects, that is E1, P1, F1. These are the modules. So in this, you have to have an understanding of 90%. That is, you need to know about E1, P1, and F1 thoroughly. And in case, if you don't know that, you will fail for sure. And 10% only will be the case study. That is, even without the case study knowledge, you will be able to pass the examination in the OCS level. Now, many students are not aware about the OCS. And one thing, some students fail the exams even after OCS coming to management case study. Because in CIMA, the uniqueness is every exam changes in the structure. So management case study, your role change into a finance manager, which you did last time. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, in the point of view of finance manager, I believe that even doctor knows it. Case study knowledge is important. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. You can't say it is only 10%. It is more than that. Correct, no, students, if I'm not mistaken. It's effectively More than that, students, for your understanding.
Yeah,
I just wanted
40%.
it's 40%. Excellent.
I think it's 20 for operational, 40 for management, and 60 for strategic. Sir, you're muted.
Students? Yeah, I believe now it is here. So students, in the new update, students, it's around 20% you have to know the case study. It's not, it's somewhere around that. But actually, students, if you have done, it's actually uh, 20%, let's keep it. But when it comes to the management case study, students, it's almost like it's increasing. I can say case study knowledge is around 60%. The reason is only F1 they are very much concerned about the technical understanding. So I'll write down here E2, P2, and F2. The F2 is more concerned. So the technical weightage generally drops down, if I'm not mistaken, because you are a manager. You are mostly considered to think analytical factors. And the last one, students, if I'm not mistaken, strategic case study, it is very different. It is very, very challenging and unique. You have to at least go through one answer because the answers are different from every question. But the questions remain the same. You get the same question in every time, but the answers are very much case specific. And there are a lot of students, the feedback they are giving is effectively this comes like the vice versa of the operational case study. Now, example students, in this, the technical knowledge, how much ever you learn, students, the technical knowledge in this case applied is only 20%. That is one thing that we have to understand. And students, the case study knowledge, that means the understanding of that particular situation in the senior level is around 80%. So students, if you observe, the technical knowledge goes down, and that's what they have something called the C-suite program, where some people can directly get to the strategic case study. So Ayana madam, if I'm not mistaken, for the strategic case study, your knowledge on technical factors are not much expected. It can be
Oh.
managed. So that is you have to keep in mind. In case if you are not very strong in the technical knowledge, still the possibility of passing is very high because they are effectively concerned whether you are good with the company information.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. And I think Hamzat has done SCS. Hamzat, have you did SCS previously? Or is it the first attempt, Hamzat? Because you have to understand it's a little different one.
Sorry. Yeah, I did SCS last time also.
Okay. So I think, Hamzat, you are aware, right? SCS is not easy like MCS, if I'm not mistaken, Hamzat, if I'm not
Yes, sir.
mistaken. It's very
Actually, sir, actually, with my experience, what I'm saying is exam matters. How we play in the exam only what matters. Basically, what we expect will not come, and then when we go there, we will panic. So how we face the exam is, I would say, 80%, and what we do is only 20, actually.
correct. And Hamzat, there won't be any theory questions, right? Like what you get in other levels, there are no theory direct questions, right, Hamzat? Everything was unknown question.
Basically practical. Even last time, the variant I got was actually, I don't know. I mean, we couldn't relate anything to pre-scene. Everything was practical application. About 20% only we could relate to pre-scene, sir. 80% plus practical.
Practical. So thanks, Hamzat. So Mr. Jose, I believe you are following this. So I believe students, this is the basic structure that you have to keep in mind. I believe everyone is very, very clear with the three structurization of the exam. So students, now one important thing, I'm giving you all time. Now, if you observe students, you must sit and read students. That is very, very important. Before going through any analysis, you sit and read, make some short notes, understand the case study. And I am always suggesting to read in the following order. Now, this is how I do the analysis. So introduction, anyway, we have to read as first. Don't go for warehouse handling students. Start secondly from Robobryce, because that is our organization. And then students, you come to the warehouse handling industry, your thinking will become very much sharp and clear. And then students, the new stories, again, as usual, I will do the full analysis of that, but as usual. And one thing this time I observed was the beta factor is very less. It is 0.91. That means, students, the stocks are not dangerous. In other words, the stocks are not having much risk considering to the other factors. So that is one thing. And these are the news articles. And I am always suggesting to go through the supermarket price war. And then students, there is something called mixed views from warehouse staff. And now here they are telling complaints from warehouse staffs. But students, I told you in our case study, we are exploiting one factory. 7,000 staffs in that country is paid a very lower price. And we are selling all our goods at a higher price as well. And one more feedback, students, I just want to give you. This risk analysis table is not so perfect. The reason is all the risk what they have given is just the basic risk, but you have to make sure you understand the other risk. Like Hamzat was telling, it is very different, students. Now, students, I have to give you a disclaimer. As a teacher, it's up to you to make a decision, because what you did for MCS, please don't try and do it for SCS, because many students are not clearing it because the methodologies change every level. I believe that is very clear for everyone. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Methods are different. Students, methods are different because now you are promoted. You are in the senior level. Your thinking should develop and you have to be very practical in thinking. And like Hamzat told, how much ever we study, at the end of the day, your presence of mind is very important in the exam day to pass or fail as well. And then students, this paper I'm telling you can pass, not a difficulty. Easily you can pass without any issues. But in the end of the day, you have to be practical. And students, luckily students, if you observe, we have so many organizations like to study these things. So it will make your life easy as well, so that it will become easy. Now, students, I'll just ask you one question, if I'm not mistaken. You know the industry. These are the items what we are producing, everything. What is the principal risk that our industry we have? It's not there in our pre-seen material. What is the principal risk we will be facing? What is the principal risk? A common sense question I'm asking. Now you know what we are selling. What is the principal risk we can face? That means the main risk.
Failure of technology, maybe.
Failure of
technology
on,
updation.
no. Technology updation, not much. The biggest challenge we can face is health and safety at work environment. Because students, something happens, wrong happens to our devices and it injures the people around. Can that happen, students? Can there be injury because of our devices, students? Chances are there. And also, can there be damages to the stocks because our machineries didn't carry that properly? Can that happen also, students? Can that happen, students? Injury, damages to the stocks because of our systems were not good, students, if I'm not mistaken. And then students, we can have cyber risk also, students. Chances are there, no, students, because there can be a system that is hacked where it is giving all the data using our solutions also. Can that be also a problem there, students? That is also one major factor that we can identify in this. Because students, if you see a technological update, everything, I agree with you. But if you see health and safety, now let's assume our suppliers, they have our equipment. Something wrong happens with our equipment. Example, can there a chance our equipment exploding? Hamzat, can there be a chance one of our machine explodes? Yes or no, Hamzat?
Yeah, possibilities, yes.
Excess possibilities, there are no, students. Excess heat,
Yes.
the machine explodes. Can that have a fire in the factory? Doctor, can that be a possible fire in the factory because of explosion of one of our device? Possible, no,
Possible.
doctor, if you see.
Possible.
So students, this is how you have to think. You have to effectively be a risk manager. I will make it very clear for you. Now, students, if you see in SCS, your role is not finance manager. Your role is risk manager. Hamza, do you agree with me, Hamza? Because if you see
Yeah,
last time,
agree,
they
sir.
never tested a single question on finance. Correct, no, Hamza, if I'm not mistaken.
Agree, sir,
All the
agree.
questions were on risk manager.
Yes,
So
yes.
students, you are a risk manager. I'm not joking, students. It's very, very transparent. Although they say you are a finance manager, there is nothing with strategy or everything. Everything with risk and common sense. Everything with risk and common sense. And especially everyone can pass because everyone has common sense because you all have worked for a long period of time and you are doing a role of a risk manager at the end of the day. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with that? And one positive thing I have to add so that it will be even helping you. I think even Hamzat also can agree. The case study is not complicated this time. Although industry is new, case study is easy to understand. Did you observe that,
Yes, sir.
Hamzat? Like
Yeah,
last time they were
there's a change.
confusing 3PL, 2PL, 1PL. Can you remember? They were giving technical
Yeah.
jargons. Now,
Correct, sir.
students, if you see, this one is very, very direct to thinking. So you can think directly and it will not have a direct issues for you all as well. Wonderful, wonderful. So students, can I give you the research time? So can you spend time on doing the research of all these items, students, if I'm not mistaken, as we told, can you take some time? And Wednesday class, when we meet, we will be doing the SWOT analysis more in detail. And if you can do a SWOT, you can send it to me. I will mark it and give it to you. And also the ratio also. And one important thing, students, don't follow the methodology of MCS in SCS. MCS in SCS, because now the trend analysis has changed. Like doctor said, everything is correct, but considering the trend factors, the marking schemes are little more AICP rather than CJM. That doctor by any chance, the new website, they are not asking contact ID anymore, email address, everything. Did anyone check that by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, so students
Yeah.
understand it very well. The
It looks
marking
different.
patterns have, it looks different. And earlier we had contact ID, and now we are not having contact ID. They are directly asking the email, if I'm not mistaken. So just be liberal in mind thinking, and I'll just make sure that you are thinking and connecting to the situation well, so that effectively everything will be fine. So I'll just go for the one-to-one discussion. So, Aina, madam, any questions for the day?
No, sir, I'm just digesting all those things. But I had one doubt when you said the length of the answer. So can you just tell me what is the length
Yeah.
of the answer? Yeah.
Yeah. Example, if you observe in every question, they will give you. Now, let's assume question 1. Okay. I'll just write it down so that it's very clear. So, question 1, they will effectively mention part A and they will ask discuss and they will say within brackets 40% is the weight. And then part B, they will effectively say explain and 60% is the weight. Now, the length of the answer is for every 10%, you have to write one paragraph.
Okay.
That means 40 marks means 40% means you have to have a 4 structured paragraph to score it. And 60% means 6 paragraph for this part structure. And there is nothing called word count or anything. We call it as the holistic view. How much your answer looks like a newspaper article rather than a normal replication of knowledge. It needs to have a structure, an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, and that comes through practice. Is that fine?
Okay, right, I got it. And one more doubt, you asked us to do a SWOT analysis of this pre-seen materials with comparing to the other industries also. You have shown us, you have shown examples of 2-3 industries. So
yeah, so what we have to do is very simple. That is, you have to do a SWOT analysis considering only this material. Don't go for
Okay.
industry research, only this material, because I just
Okay.
showed you this industry materials, it improves your visualization. Because when you
Okay.
only go through this, it's very hard because they are just given the images, but these
Okay.
industries will show you how actually things work. Like a virtual factory visit, you will be able to understand these things.
Okay. Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Sharmin, any questions?
Sir, we do not have class on Sunday.
This Sunday you do the research. Is that fine, doctor? You take
yeah,
time
sure.
and read and finish it, because I think it will be more effective for all of us. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken, because I think all are working professionals. You won't get time to spend like independently on this. That's what a suggestion. Can we do that?
Yeah. So next time we meet on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Let's meet on Wednesday and do the full analysis. And you all will have a very thorough understanding when you come on Wednesday, because you all have done the research. Mr. Jose, any questions?
No, sir, today nothing.
Thank you. Mr. Hamzat, any questions for the day?
No, sir. I have done the ratio and short halfway. I'll finish it and I'll send it to you. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you very much, Hamzat, for sharing your valuable experience to our class, because your
You're
first-hand
welcome.
experience is very, very effective for all of us, and it gives us the right direction. Thanks a lot,
Correct,
Hamzat.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So thank you very much, students, for your wonderful and precious time. So we will meet up on Wednesday class. Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Welcome. Welcome.